when he plays reveille. He's the boogie woogie bugle boy of Company B. Wakes them up the same way in the early bright. They clap their hands and stamp their feet because they know how he plays when someone gives him a beat. He really breaks it up when he plays reveille. He's the boogie woogie bugle boy of Company B. Da 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 da. And the company jumps when he plays reveille. He's the boogie woogie bugle boy of Company B.
Johnny comes marching home again. Hooray, hooray. We'll give him a hearty welcome then. Hooray, hooray.
All the men will cheer and the boys will shout. The girls dress up and they'll all turn out.
And we'll all feel great when Johnny comes marching home.
Get ready for the Jubilee.
Hooray, hooray.
He'll get 3 cheers from you and me.
Hooray, hooray.
Uncle Sam will prove he's still the champ. He'll close up shop and he'll break up camp.
And we'll all feel great when Johnny comes marching home. When Johnny comes marching home. When Johnny comes marching home.
When Johnny comes
Marching home.
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands. One nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all, justice for all. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands. One nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all, justice for all, justice for all, justice for all. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, of the United States of America, of the United States of America. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands. One nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all, justice for all. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands. One nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all, justice for all, justice for all, justice for all. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, of the United States of America, of the United States of America. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands. One nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all, justice for all. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands. One nation under God.
When I think about America, I think of so many things. It's my country, the United States, and it means so much to me. Green, green forests, having nice schools, voting for the president, red, white, and blue, playing in my neighborhood, believing in dreams. Oh, this is America to me. Celebrating holidays, pledge to our flag, great big mountains, learning all you can, all different colors, being what you want to be. Whoa, this is America to me. Whoa, this is America, the land that I love, my country, the United States, under one shining sun. So many different people, together proud and free. This is America, America to me. All kinds of ice cream, animals on farms, pilgrims at Thanksgiving, boats, trains, and cars, helping each other, people I love. Oh, this is America to me. Whoa, this is America, land that I love, my country, the United States, under one shining sun. So many different people,
Hello? There we go. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for coming to our annual Veterans Day ceremony. I'm so glad to see all of you here today. And I would like to start the day off by saying the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by our national anthem. So please rise for our Pledge of Allegiance and stay standing for our national anthem. And please direct your attention to either the flag to my left or to my right. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now for our national anthem. Thank you so much. Thank you. And now, I would like to welcome to the stage our school's headmaster, Dr. Tom Marcy.
Good morning, veterans. So glad to have you with us today. Good morning, students. Good morning, parents, trustees, former Veterans Day speakers here in Assembly, and guests. And good morning, faculty, staff, and administrator colleagues. It gives me great pleasure to welcome all of you this morning to our annual celebration of Veterans Day at Windermere Preparatory School. This program has become one of our signature events, a time when we pause and recognize and say thank you for service to country by men and women who have worn the uniforms of our nation throughout our proud and storied history. As we begin the celebration this morning, I want to share some special thoughts with you. According to the Merriam-Webster Dictionary, one of the definitions of the word symbol is an object having cultural significance and the capacity to excite. Symbols are used by nations and organizations around the world to convey meaning, provoke feeling, and identify some kind of entity or product. If I were to ask you, what activity is symbolized by the image on the screen, I believe that most of you would probably say the Olympics or the Olympic Games. Their creation was inspired by the ancient Olympic Games, which were held in Olympia, Greece, from the 8th century BC until the 4th century AD. Baron Pierre de Coubertin founded the International Olympic Committee, the IOC, in 1894, leading to the first modern Olympic Games in Athens, Greece in 1896. The Summer Games and the Winter Olympics are now held every 4 years, 2 years apart. Historically, flags and banners have been a part of the Olympic Games, which now open with the world-famous Parade of Nations, in which each nation's delegations of Olympic athletes marches into the Olympic Stadium behind the flags of their respective countries. It's interesting to note that the Olympic flag has a white background with 5 interlaced rings right in the center: blue, yellow, black, green, and red. This design is symbolic. The rings represent the 5 continents of the world united by Olympism, a philosophy of life, exalting and combining in a balanced whole the qualities of body, will, and mind. While the 6 colors are those, some of which are found in all of the national flags of the world at the present time. In addition to the Olympic flag, the flag of the host nation also flies over the Olympic Games. In 2016, in the Summer Olympics, the host nation was Brazil. It is considered to be an extremely high honor for the Olympic athlete who is selected to be the flag bearer for his or her country. At the 2016 Summer Games held in Rio de Janeiro, 3 such honorees were Shelly Ann Fraser-Price, a terrific sprinter from Jamaica, Lei Xiong, China's Olympic fencing champion, and Michael Phelps, record Olympic gold medal swimmer from the United States. There are many countries represented right here in this room today. Whatever country you are from, I suspect and I truly hope that you feel a sense of national pride during the Olympic Games when your nation's athletes enter the stadium under the flag of your country. Most of us feel excitement and a special sense of pride whenever we witness the raising of the flag of our nation and the playing of its national anthem when one of our country's athletes or teams receive a gold medal on the podium, as was the case with the Americans' women's gymnastic team winning the gold in Rio. That is how it should be, because flags are cherished symbols used to bring societies of people together. Flags are one of the symbols of each nation that express pride, provoke emotion, and contribute to building a sense of unitas on a national scale. You can probably tell by now from the snow on the roof that I'm a member of the baby boomers generation. I was born on October 27th, 1945, right after the end of World War II. I grew up in a country in which the stars and stripes of red, white, and blue and the national anthem were reverenced. Whenever I see the presentation of the U.S. flag and/or hear the national anthem, I still stand in silence with respect and great pride, and with boundless appreciation for the fact that I was somehow lucky enough and randomly privileged to be born, to grow up, to live, to work, and to raise my family in the United States of America, a nation which has been a beacon of hope and a land of liberty, drawing freedom-seeking peoples from around the world to her shores in waves of immigration throughout her history. I grew up to understand that the blessings of hope and the blessing of liberty do not come without a cost. Throughout our history, many have given the ultimate sacrifice of their lives to help protect and to further and fully extend to all of our citizens the many freedoms granted in the Constitution of the United States. Military personnel have fought under the stars and stripes. Some have returned to this country in coffins draped by the Stars and Stripes, having gallantly made the ultimate sacrifice for their country. Many now rest eternally in military cemeteries around the world and across the nation under the Stars and Stripes flag of red, white, and blue. I must confess to you this morning that I feel heartsick whenever I witnessed ambivalence and or disrespect in any fashion, for any reason, by anyone for the red, white, and blue or the national anthem of the United States. Because to me, they are truly symbols of great sacrifice, of bravery beyond that which most of us in this room can even begin to imagine, and a willingness to give allegiance, even unto death, to our great country, which has historically been the greatest guarantor of opportunity for the world's huddled masses and the embodiment of hope and liberty. I have expressed my very personal feelings about our nation in today's troubled times in a poem that I recently wrote and set to music, which has now been arranged by lower school music teacher Mr. Ryan Streb. It will be performed today for the first time by our Laker singers, accompanied by pianist Jane Moore, violinist and lower school music teacher Lottie Dorkota, trumpeter and WPS Director of Bands Dave Westerskov, and percussionists Katie Crofton and Sam Sharma. I hope that this message will speak to you this morning in a manner that causes you to think, in a manner that causes you to reflect and appreciate your good fortune to be living in this land of the free and home of the brave. And I hope that it will touch you in a manner that stirs your emotions, because red, white, and blue and USA mean everything to me. Singers? Thank you, Windermere singers and musicians. Let me close this portion of the program with some final short thoughts. We've been blessed as a nation, but we must not forget the price paid for our birthrights. We must show respect. For freedom and for our ideals, patriots have had to fight to ensure that every one of us can sleep in peace each night. Freedom's fragile. It's precious. Yet, sadly, we oft take for granted our sweet liberty. So let's pause, thank, and honor men and women who, for me and for you, served our Star-Spangled Banner, served under our Star-Spangled Banner of red, white, and blue. I want to invite every American veteran here assembled this morning to rise and accept our love and our grateful thanks for your service to the United States of America, our home of hope and liberty. May God bless you always. U.S. vets, please rise, stand up, and be recognized. We are forever in your debt. Thank you. It's now my great pleasure to introduce our speaker this morning. Jeff Still is a former United States Navy officer who served his country as a Navy SEAL and retired after 22 years of service. He has a deep-seated faith and love of country and considers himself to be privileged to have worked with some of the greatest talents in government and commercial organizations around the world. As a SEAL, Jeff was selected early in his career into the Naval Special Warfare Development Group, a Joint Special Operations Command Tier 1 National Mission Force Command that selects the top 5% of operators in the Navy SEAL community. He held many senior positions, such as Special Liaison to the Central Intelligence Agency, Officer in charge of operations, Officer in charge of training, and Division Officer, overseeing hundreds of our nation's most elite war fighters, complex missions, and advanced military programs. Jeff also served as the leading chief for the Navy SEAL Sniper Training School and as officer in charge of the Navy SEAL K-9 program, where he was pivotal in the creation of the nation's largest and our country's most advanced working dog program. As a military officer, he developed and led multiple programs in the SEAL community, some of which are still considered among the most advanced Special Forces programs in the military today. A decorated combat soldier, Jeff is a recipient of 2 Bronze Stars, both with Combat Valor, the Joint Service Commendation Medal with Combat Valor, and the Defense Meritorious Service Medal, and numerous other high-level service awards. He has had more than 20 years of studying and immersing himself in cultures around the globe. He's a sought-after expert in leadership strategy, innovation, training, and development, and he has lectured and taught all over the world. Jeff holds a master's degree in business administration from Duke University, where his studies included immersion in Russia, England, the United Arab Emirates, India, and China. He received his Bachelor of Science from the University of Southern Illinois and holds postgraduate certifications from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology in Leadership and Management, Georgetown University in Project Management, and the Harvard Law School in Business Negotiation. He is the proud husband and father who believes in America's enduring spirit and the pursuit of the American dream. He has made his home in Huntsville, Alabama, with his wife and 2 children. It gives me great pleasure to introduce and welcome to the microphone Jeff Still, United States Navy SEAL, retired.
How are we doing? Does it sound good? Does it sound good? Thank you very much. Morning. Could I have my fellow vets stand again, please? Because I want to look at you. Good. Thank you. You know, anytime you get the opportunity to talk to a vet, ask them what the flag means to them. You'd be surprised. I deployed almost a dozen times to Iraq and Afghanistan, and every single time I deployed, I folded up a 3.5 by 5 flag, and then I put it in my pack, and it never came out until I came home. Because that's what I carried. That's what I was fighting for. See, I'll never quit. I persevere and thrive on adversity. My nation expects me to be physically stronger, mentally tougher than my enemy. If knocked down, I'll get back up every time. I am never out of the fight. So some time ago, I was sitting in an audience just like this, and I was prepared to listen intently as this gentleman walked out across the stage. And he said something I'll never forget. It changed how I approach life's challenges and life's opportunities. And he came out, and what he said was pretty simple. He said, "Don't waste a minute or a moment thinking I can't. Those moments add up to a bad outcome. And in this profession, you have to make every minute matter." That was my first day at Bud's. Initial SEAL training, Navy SEAL training. Sitting in that audience, I remember the first thing he said, "I want you to take a look to your left. I want you to take a look to your right. There's a 15% chance that person will be here when this is all over." He went on to say that people get hurt in this training. SEALs get hurt. Do you really want to do this? Because you can quit right now. But before you do, I want you to ask yourself one thing. Is it possible? And he said, I'm here to tell you it is possible. That anything's possible. And he went, continue that, and he stopped, and so silently you could hear a pin drop. And after what seemed like an eternity, he said, is this going to be hard? Yep, very hard. Hard, extremely hard, brutal. Just don't waste a minute thinking, I can't. Make every minute matter. Make every minute matter. There were 167 guys in my BUDS class, SEAL training. 37 of us made it through training. It's one of the toughest military training there is. But contrary to what most people think, SEAL training isn't about physical ability. The fact is, if you're capable of physically getting to the front door at SEAL training, you're physically capable to make it through, and they will make sure of that. SEAL training is about a mindset, making every minute matter, never giving up, never quitting, putting 100% into everything you do. The common questions I get asked a lot, why'd you become a SEAL? Answer, Charlie Sheen. It's true, I watched the movie, I said, wow, that's cool. I wanted to go to college and be an entrepreneur and watch this movie. I said, I can do that. The person I was with at the time said, you can't. And I'm not the kind of guy you say, you can't. So I did. 72 hours later, I joined the Navy. And in short order, I became a SEAL. Other questions, why did you become a SEAL? Answer, Charlie Sheen. Why? What's your favorite thing about SEAL training? Answer, not being wet and cold, that's for sure. Because that's what you are the whole time. Cold, wet. You're not hungry, you get to eat a lot, as you guys can tell. I still have a little bit of a belly. That's all from SEAL training, if you can imagine that. What's your least favorite thing? Well, that's it. What's the coolest thing you ever did? This was it. We talked about the K-9 program. Absolutely. If you had asked me when I became a SEAL if I'm going to become a dog trainer or a dog handler, I would have said you're crazy. But I got Balto about halfway through my command at SEAL Team 6. That's what development group is. It's actually SEAL Team 6. And one of the first guys to handle a dog, and this is Balto. Balto and I did over 300 missions together in Afghanistan. He is amazing. He can jump out of airplanes, as you can see. He protects his fellow soldiers. He finds bombs on the side of the road. And now, as you can see right here, he's at home right now with my daughters, protecting them. He's retired just like me. Working with Balto, best advice I ever received? I've already said it, make every minute matter. This is called drown proofing. This is in BUDS, and what they do is if you can see real close, they actually tie your feet together, and their hands are tied behind your back. And you spend just over 45 minutes in a 15-foot pool, and you're not allowed to touch the sides. Imagine that. I like this because you get yelled at a lot in SEAL training, and when you're in the pool and underwater, you can't hear them yell. That's pretty cool. I graduated SEAL training, BUDS, and went on to SEAL Team 8, SEAL Team 10. In short order, I was selected to go to SEAL Team 6. You can't ask to go. You're selected by your peers. I went training and joined SEAL Team 6 and came and worked, like Dr. Margie said, amongst the top SEALs that we have, the top 5%. And it was in April of 2009, I was driving off the base from work, and my phone went off, and I looked down, and it was a text, and it was a code. And I was supposed to go meet my wife for Easter We were going Easter shopping. And I looked at the code and I thought, ooh, I'm in trouble. I have to call my wife. I'm not going to make it to shopping. I'm not going to make it home for dinner. And I'm probably not going to make it home for dinner for a while. Captain Phillips, the skipper of a U.S. cargo vessel, had been captured by Somali pirates. And it was my team and I who were called to do the rescue mission. Did y'all want to play? Sorry. You guys see?
This is Maersk, Alabama. We are an unarmed freighter. We have a potential piracy situation.
Copy, Alabama. You should alert your crew. Get your fire hoses ready. Chances are it's just fishermen.
They're not here to fish. Listen up. We have been boarded by armed pirates. Stay hidden at all costs. Don't want any hostages. We will follow the procedures, lock down, go dead in the water, and wait for help. Stick together, and we'll be all right.
Where is the crew?
I don't know.
You think we're playing? You think we're playing?
If you're gonna shoot somebody, shoot me!
Hey! Look at me.
Sure.
Look at me. I'm the captain now. 1 minute, I kill all your friends. 1 minute.
You come with us!
Or I'll get everybody!
Hey, don't get in there! Gotta get him off the ship!
Not like this!
So as I continued off the base, and let's get back to where I was driving off the base and I just found out I'm going to go on this mission. So I had to call my wife. And I said, honey, listen before you react. But I'm not going to be home. I'm not going to be able to make it shopping, first of all. And I'm not going to be home for dinner. So save the meatloaf for another night. Now, I'll tell you the meatloaf story later. But that was our code for I'm out, don't ask, and I'll call you when I can. So new mission. I'm going to be gone for a while. I know I'm going to be on a really long plane ride. So I need some food. I need as much cash as I can get. I've got to be back to work in 1 hour. Wheels off the ground, going to save him in 4 hours. So Subway. It's quick, right? I go to Subway for 2 Subway foot-long sandwiches for that long plane ride. And I walk into Subway, and you know sometimes when you're in a rush and you get behind that person in line? Well, this is what happened. There are 2 people in line in Subway. The person that's ordering, I think it's his first time in Subway. I don't think he's ever seen a Subway before. He's asking all kinds of silly questions. And the gentleman directly in front of me is actually watching Fox News about Captain Phillips being abducted. So I'm not that guy. But I had to, and there was one girl behind the counter, and I said, excuse me, miss, I leaned over the side, I said, excuse me, miss, is there someone in the back that could help you? I'm kind of in a rush. And the gentleman in front of me looked right at me and said, you know, that's the problem with the world today. Everybody's in a rush. I think I have an excuse, right? But I didn't tell him, and I expressed a lot of patience. Got my 2 Subway sandwiches, went to 7-Eleven, got a bunch of cash, and 18 hours later, I'm 6,000 feet over the Indian Ocean. Now, next to me is one of my teammates. And next to him is this communicator. Now, when we need to get somebody on the ground when we're parachuting, sometimes we need to get people there that are not SEALs. And the way we do this is we tandem them in, which means they put on a special harness, and we strap them to a specially qualified SEAL who can jump 2 people at once, and they jump out of the aircraft. So we stood up, and it was 2 hours just before the jump, and I handed the harness to this communication kid. He's 21 years old. He wasn't a SEAL. And I said, put this on. He said, what's this? I said, it's your tandem harness. What's a tandem harness? Well, apparently, he's never done this before. He said, I'm not jumping. I'm landing with the aircraft, and I'm going to set up the communications on the airfield. I said, no, you're not. You are jumping, and you need to put this on. So I helped him put it on, and got him all strapped up. But the interesting part of this whole story, now he's never jumped out of an aircraft. He's only been in the Navy for 2 years. He's only been at this command for 6 months. This is the first time he's ever gone overseas in his life. So what I'm going to show you is the actual video. Now, who believes in here that Hollywood is accurate? Anybody? Yeah, we're gonna make that myth go away. Who here has not seen the Captain Phillips movie? I'm sure there's some down front. Okay, a few of you. So there's some who are. Well, in the movie, they depict it as 5 of us jumping out of an aircraft in the middle of the night. They depicted us as being these mean and aggressive soldiers, and it's so far from that. But here's the actual jump. It's not at night, and there's not 5 of us. It's the only part of the stuff that's not classified. Here it goes. This is the actual jump. We're over the horizon, so we're not worried about them seeing us. We're going to drive in. So a couple more than 5 guys. What do you think? And you'll see my face in the last one. I'm going to set the drogue for the tandem, and the reason why I don't put sound up on this is I don't want you to hear this guy screaming because he didn't want to go. And there he goes. He makes him hang there, and then he jumped him out, and we're all done. And that is the actual group that went in to rescue Captain Phillips. Yeah. So, one more slide. As I close out, there's a few things that I want to talk about. And when I'm asked what makes me most proud of my time in the military, the answer is simple. Gentlemen, ladies, military vets, would you stand up, please? Again, I'm sorry. Thank you. My teammates, the people that I fight beside, that's what makes me proud, because we're all there for the same purpose, to fight for the freedom that our flag represents. I want to just give you just a couple examples of those people, because this isn't about being a SEAL. And it's a great job, and I'm proud of what I've done. But I want to tell you a story about being in combat. And one of my buddies was getting hurt really bad. And another gentleman, his name was Mike, he was a dog handler. And it was a machine gun, and they were shooting my friend, and they were hurting him. And so Mike decided to drop everything on his back and run straight in, so they would stop shooting at him and start shooting at Mike. He wasn't a SEAL. He was a military man. He was proud. And he'd do anything for the person standing next to him. He'd do anything to protect that flag. Mike, he was a master at arms in the Navy, walked into a house in Iraq, and the enemy had rigged it with explosives, and it fell on him. Crushed both his legs, his femurs, biggest bone in your body. Doctor said he'd never walk without a cane. If he walks, his military career was done. 6 months later, he was walking. 9 months later, he was running. 1 year later, he was back in combat. These are the people that we celebrate on Veterans Day. And think of this, a spouse, even just after going to a funeral of a fallen soldier, keeps the promise that 48 hours before you deploy, before you leave to go overseas, that she won't cry, and you won't cry, because that's not what you want to see. Those are the people we celebrate. We can't forget the spouses and the kids. Service to our country goes well beyond the uniform. Abraham Lincoln said, "Honor the soldier and sailor who bravely bears his country's cause." All stand, if you would. Would you all stand for me? Thank you. Thank you. He also, I'm going to continue to quote, he also said, "Honor also the citizen who cares for his brother in arms, who cares for the person in the field as they serve as best as they can for the same cause." That is you today. And I honor each and every one of you for this, what has been the most incredible Veterans Day celebration I have ever been to. It's my honor, and I thank you very much. Last slide. When the opportunity comes, just say thanks. Just say thanks.
These are roughly 28,835 jelly beans. I counted out 500 of them and used those to weigh the rest. In this pile, there's one jelly bean for each day that the average American will live. You might have more beans in your life, or maybe less, but on average, this is the time we have. Here's a single bean. It's your very first day. A special day, but kind of a rough day on everyone involved. Add 364 more and you have the first year of your life. Now, for a sense of scale, here are your first 15 years. 5,475 days, which brings us to the threshold of adulthood. And at that moment, this is the time that we have left. And this is, on average, what we will do with all that time. We will be asleep for a total of 8,477 days. If we're lucky, some of that time we'll be sleeping next to someone we love. We will be in the process of eating, drinking, or preparing food for 1,635 days. We'll be at work, hopefully doing something satisfying, for the equivalent of 3,202 of those days. 1,099 days will be spent commuting or traveling from one place to another, maybe a little bit more if you live in LA. On average, we will watch television in one form or another for a total of 2,676 days. Household activities, like chores and tending to our pets and shopping, will take another 1,576 days. And we will care for the needs and well-being of others, our friends and family, for 564 days. We'll spend 671 days bathing, grooming, and doing all other bathroom-related activities, and another 720 days will go to community activities, like religious and civic duties, charities, and taking classes. After we remove all those beans, this is what remains. This is the time that we have left. Time for laughing, swimming, making art, going on hikes, text messages, reading, checking Facebook, playing softball, maybe even teaching yourself how to play the guitar. So what are you going to do with this time? How much of it do you think you've already used up? If you only had half of it, what would you do differently? What about half of that? How much time have you already spent worrying instead of doing something that you love? What if you just had one more day? What are you going to do today?
When the opportunity presents itself, Go ahead and you can sit down. I'm sorry. I didn't ask you that before. You know what you can do today? You can start by when you decide to do something, do it 100%. If you've made that decision to do it 100%. What you can start doing today is making every minute matter. And when the opportunity presents itself to thank a vet or ask him what that flag means to them, just simply pull him aside and ask him. I want to thank you and salute and honor you for what you guys have done. Thank you for having me, and I wish you the absolute best. It was my honor to be here. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Perhaps you have heard this sentiment. This nation will remain the land of the free only so long as it is the home of the brave. These words are of the utmost importance, especially on Veterans Day. As the middle school student government president, and on behalf of the middle school student body, it was an honor to pin the veterans in attendance this morning. Our young minds and inexperienced souls cannot begin to comprehend the sacrifices that you have made. Thank you. To further honor you, we recognize each branch of service as our high school chorus performs the Armed Forces Medley, and the middle school flag troop presents your colors. We request that veterans stand so that we may honor you. Thank you for your courage, your bravery, and your dedication to this country. We are humbled.
thank you to our high school choir and our flag troop for saluting each branch of service to honor our veterans. But now students, all students, colleagues, and guests, think about that word, honor. That is what this celebration is all about. I close this ceremony with a heartfelt plea, a call to action, if you will, that you, each and every one of you, honor our veterans. You can do so by simply thanking them, by helping them, by giving of your time and from your heart. Be inspired by our veterans and do what you can to make this country better, stronger, united. Make the red, white, and blue and the USA mean everything to you. Veterans, I speak for the entire Laker community. We respect you, we honor you, we thank you. Veterans and guests, we ask that you follow the flags for a reception out at our cafe.